Yes.
Like they look like little flowers, right?
Yes.
But they actually look like meteors from a different angle.
This entire episode culminates in this one moment, and that's why I think everyone is freaking out about how good it was.
เนี่ยโซเชียลระเบิดไปเลยไหม
There is no wrong in exploring possibilities, speculation, what these symbols mean. There is no wrong. It's just play, right? Like it's just fun, and we're all queens, we're all royalty when we're doing it, and we have these big brain thoughts and we're like connecting things.
Basically, a tinfoil tiara is a tinfoil hat, but you're doing it from a femme gaze perspective, and that's why it's a tiara. There's like this idea of like blurriness going on, like I can't see clearly, which is so funny because last week what was everybody talking about on Twitter, on the comments? Like the biggest theory going around was the darn Goya is blind theory.
And like two even called everyone out that it made her laugh.
That's how popular it was.
Yeah.
Was that two saw it and commented on it. She was like, oh my God, I'm dying.
People asked us in our comments, and both Ty and I are like, she's not going to be blind.
I know that sounds silly, but it does kind of tickle my subconscious in a way, because there is this idea in the theme of this episode that I can't see what's next. I don't understand what's going to happen, but there is this idea of blindness, I would say emotionally.
I really find it fascinating that like the fandom was like, she's blind, and we're like, she can't be blind, but actually in a way, metaphorically, she is. Wow, this fandom is deep. What is this freaking show, Ty? But what is this show?
It's a projection of the psyche.
What is this show? What is this show? But like, what is this show really does sum up like so much. What is this show? What is this show?
It's the coolest thing I've ever watched. Hey guys! Hello everyone, and welcome to the F4 Obsessed live stream. Da-da-da!
Yahoo!
So excited. All right, guys. So you probably know us from F4 Obsessed, a deep dive where we covered F4 Thailand from a symbolic and meta perspective. My name is Ty, if you don't already know, otherwise known as Wit and Folly, and I am your host. My lovely co-host is Marie Claire, who I call MC. Say hi, MC.
Hey! You can see our faces. This is like how we normally record, which is looking at each other, and now we get to talk with you guys. Aww. Yeah, just a little like round of applause for Ty's amazing video. I was like, Ty, what if? And she was like running with it. It was great.
Yeah, pretty much. Even though it was a lot of work, it was really fun. I hope you guys liked it. So
yeah. Hi everyone in the chat too.
Yeah, hi everybody in the chat. There's a little delay, but we're trying to read stuff and try to react to it as much as we can. The schedule for the live stream, just so everybody knows, we have we're gonna first reveal the results of the polls. And then we're going to do a special lore, which I'm very excited about. That'll be a surprise. Then we're going to talk about our favorite fandom moments. We're also going to answer the questions that you all submitted. And then we're going to have some final big brain discussions about myth and themes, meta, symbolism in the show in F4 Thailand. So it's going to be a fun day, fun live stream. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and part of the goal, I think, is to just really take home something from the show, because like we've been thinking about it all week, like as a big thing, and the point of making shows like this is to take something home with us, and we really, really wanted to do this to not only celebrate all of what we've done, but also all of you. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So many emotions.
All right. We ready for polls?
Yeah, let's do the polls. So we're gonna start with the which ads you have memorized poll, I believe.
I'm gonna make this big.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything is tiny in these polls because there was a lot of like add-ins and things like that. But yeah, so it's up on screen.
Yeah, and everybody abused the other function. So there's a lot of answers for things where there wasn't a lot before. So, all right. So first one is which ads do you have memorized poll? This, and by the way, we got about 215 responses on average for all of these. So it's a pretty good, like pool from everyone. I think it was pretty good amount of people. So the biggest ones were the Escola ad, the KFC ad, and the Lactosoy.
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense. And then I totally forgot that the people who were watching on VIU don't get ads. So some people were like, I don't know
what are you talking about? Which means that we probably won't get ads in the DVDs.
Yes.
Which will be weird. Like
it will be weird. Like how am I supposed what am I supposed to do with my life without these ads?
Yeah. Escola.
Exactly.
I feel like that and the lady that gives the warning at the beginning, like I know her voice like so well.
So well. I know that one. I know like the first like third of it pretty well. Not that I'm gonna I'm not gonna do it now because there's no way. But anyway. All right, next one.
All right.
So the next one was what is your favorite angst moment? And I think that because we were coming off of the final episode, everyone pretty much answered. Yeah, everyone pretty much answered the go back to where you came from. That was 103 people at 49%. So that was overwhelmingly like the majority of people chose that scene. So, and then the second one was go back to your world. And then the third one was the breakup. So, and then I think some people wrote in all of them, and that was not a choice.
Okay, what was yours?
I did choose the go back to where you came from. I had to. I mean, it's hot.
Yeah.
Like it's angsty, it's hot. I can't stop watching it. It's so good.
Yeah. Did I watch the edit on repeat that's like just them like being super close on Twitter? Yes.
There was a GIF going around too that was spectacular. I was very, very happy to see it. Which one did you choose? You chose the same?
I have no idea. I think I chose the breakup. I really like how he like shrinks down and like is just like almost in physical pain.
Yeah.
At like she's like it's like her like she's like got powers. So it just feels so I don't know. I liked what it did for the story. Yeah,
I think like all of these top 3 ones are like really, really impactful. So I like all of them.
And we feel more justified in liking go back to where you came from rather than the monster in the classroom because there's a cage between them.
Yes. That's true.
For how hot it was.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Next one.
What is your favorite funny Tom moment? And this is one of the ones, again, where y'all just abused that other function so much. Like, I had a hard time trying to consolidate some of these because some people were answering the same way when they wrote in other. So I just kind of had to summarize them. But the number one was actually, surprisingly, Tom reacting to his second kiss. So that's the closet. Or the
closet where, and people have zoomed in on that since then, and like their lips totally touched.
Yes, that's true. It was a kiss. I mean, Yeah. That was 54 people at 25%. So it was not a majority, I would say, but the second one was the We Are Bound by Virginity line with 49 people at 23%. So I I chose We Are Bound by Virginity because I think that is going to go down in Hana Yoridango lore. I think it's the funniest thing. Which one did you choose?
I'm literally trying to remember. It could be on the spreadsheet. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Do you know which one you would choose now?
What I think it's anytime he reacts to his kiss, but I think the second one is adorable.
Yeah, when he covers his face.
When he covers his face, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we had some of the write-in ones were like when he got mad when she showed up late to the first date. That was a couple people said that. The bus scene, the bird stuff when he was scared of the birds, when he was doing chores for the first time, 3 people wrote that one in. The ear bite was one of the ones I put in there. Very few people chose that. I was surprised. But yeah, that was a good one.
Ty, ever so briefly, it says that people are saying that your volume is a little low, so maybe just scoot forward. I don't know.
Oh yeah, here.
Yeah,
y'all tell me if that works better. I don't want to pop.
You just popped. It's good. You're fine. That's louder on me, so I can see it.
Okay. All right.
Next
one is, what is your favorite symbol used in the show?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So this one, I was surprised by the responses actually. The number one was animal skins. And I put in meaning into these, like animal skins meaning beasts, monsters, exposing vulnerability and true self.
Yeah.
And that was at 56 people at 26%. And then number 2 was stars for star brides, meteors, bright and powerful. 53 people chose that at 25%. So again, it was kind of split for that majority. So yeah. And of course people chose animal skins because it's Tom. Like, that's Tom.
Yeah, totally. I believe I remember choosing this one and choosing the animal skins. So yeah, although the Starbride stuff, like, shout out to Missy for giving us so much like thoughts on that and helping us with that, because like I knew about them, of course, but there's so much folklore, and oddly, star brides and animal husbands and star husbands are often tied, which is really interesting. Like, you see like a star husband or a star groom turn into an animal husband in folklore a lot.
Yeah. Missy, she did like a thread on it and everything, but I remember talking to her about it, and she was saying that it is difficult to like pull apart those folklore about star brides, because it's like, well, is this a star bride, because it's kind of similar. So it is a very, very interesting piece of myth. I personally chose time, like Neverland growing up, time together, time
like all the time
things.
turners and stuff. Yeah.
I chose that. And even to the very last episode, it was always about like, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So
yep,
but yeah.
Exactly.
And then somebody wrote in the stadium, somebody wrote in cookies, because I mean, all of these of course are symbols of sorts. So that was cool.
Oh my goodness, so good.
Which character? Yeah.
What is this show?
What is you have to say it at least once. Yeah. So which character do you relate to the most? Because I chose the wording on this one specifically because I didn't want to say favorite character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's, which character do you relate to the most? And overwhelmingly, I would say people chose Goya. Second is Tom, and then Hunning, then Ren, then MJ, Tia, Lita, Gawin, Mira, Hale, and then people wrote in like Uncle Ga. My favorite write-in was prom guest number 3. So that was funny.
I am that person, actually.
No,
Watching
you
this
are
show.
not.
No, I'm just no. I chose Goya.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think that most femme people can identify with Goya's experience.
Yeah, definitely. I actually chose Lita. I
Justice for Lita. She needs
yeah,
her own
justice.
show.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely depends on the day, but
Yeah.
currently I'm kind of feeling Lita a little bit more. But yeah. All right, next one. What is your favorite tacky Tom outfit? This is funny because this is happening right now. The who or Bright
Bright
wore it before.
Bright wore it first, I think, or Bright wore it best, or that I like Instagram and Twitter accounts. He's
Yeah,
been
they're
super
doing the
helpful in figuring out like the details of the costumes, which you cannot see, and helped me like personally a lot. Just like not that I contacted them, but just like, oh, it said love on it.
yeah. Yeah, I remember that. We were all like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, that account's been super helpful. Um but yeah, we did our own little poll and the Beast won, which is the animal print that he wore at the very beginning.
Animal print over top of animal print.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The second one that won, these are kind of sort of around the same, like one's 30%, one's 20%. And the second one was, I called it the Predator, which is the outfit that he wore at the zoo.
Yeah.
So, and some people have called it the donut shirt because of the little circles. Yeah, that was fun. And then some people wrote in the red robe. Some people wrote in the banana shirt.
Yeah.
So sorry for not including the banana shirt.
The banana shirt was good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Your favorite cat moment.
I know what I answered for this.
Wait, what did you answer?
Meow meow.
Of course.
It's
I
the
was
best.
surprised. I was surprised that people answered the other two.
Well, I mean, just Bright being cute with a cat is always a sell.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. The meow meow scene won overwhelmingly. 119 people voted for it, 55%. So that was a fun one. And then what is your favorite Gawain and honeying moment? So this was another one where a lot of people wrote in under other, and that totally makes sense because I could not include all of the moments. But the one that won was when she helps him see that he's always been worthy of love, which is what occurs, of course, on the rooftop. And then the second one was at 28% when she pays him back for the sweets.
Yeah.
I was surprised by this one.
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't choose that one. I chose the yogurt because you spent 13 seconds for yogurt has stayed in my head.
Yes.
Right. Since like we were talking, was it on Twitter? We were talking about it on Twitter. Yeah.
That was the comment about 13 seconds. We
Yeah.
actually did it on the show too. We read
it was yeah.
Kira's comment. I think it was Kira's comment.
Might have been Andrea. I don't remember.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, we read that on the show too.
That has stayed in my heart that like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna stay for yogurt. This is not me. And yeah, it just showed how far he had come in loving her.
I love it. In the chat, Melody's like, oh my god, y'all, seriously. Some of these reactions crack me up. The first time she came by his house, yeah, there were some people that wrote in when they humiliated Tesla, or when he humiliated Tesla in front of Hunting. The actually I didn't come because of Mona that happened in the car. Yeah, so there's a lot. There's a lot of good moments between them two. So
There really is.
yeah, it's a good one. All right. What is your favorite F4 moment?
Uh,
So the one that won is when they helped Tom and Goya realize they are each other's home. So
uh,
that movie won 33%. What was your favorite?
it was so good, but I think hanging out in his new house, just because like Tom teaching them the new lifestyle, I chose that.
Yes.
And like I totally like every moment that they're together is always gold because they're really awesome. But like I don't know,
Yeah.
I just there was something about that like Tom learning stuff and then giving it to his friends just hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they give it
Yeah.
back to him, which was also awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That was the third one. That was the Tom teaching them a new lifestyle was 44 people at 21%. So it was still pretty up there. And then the fight in the stadium came in second. Because that's just like an epic fight. And that could have been the actual fight, and that could have been them making up at the end of it. I assume that kind of is all it's all encompassing, that
Yeah.
whole scene. So yeah. And then some people wrote in the surprise prom, the
Yep.
fact that y'all helped out, and then the funeral as well, because the funeral was very epic.
You made these polls very hard.
I know everybody was mad. Like, mad at me for making them so hard. Sorry, guys. All right, favorite hero Tom moment. This was seemingly easy for so many people here. If I fight back, I'll lose was the number one. Bridal carry was number two, and then running to save Goya during prom was number three. And two people actually typed in the when he went on his knees to apologize, which I totally should have included. So that was really cool that people wanted to include that one.
I know what I chose.
What? Which one?
The bridal carry.
Yeah.
He's wearing,
it's very heroic.
He's wearing love on his shirt.
That's why you like that scene.
No, I mean it just everything. Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
All of this show just is so good.
Yeah.
I think I tweeted out after it was done that for Thailand was a perfect show. Like so all of these are great. I have to watch any of these scenes again. Awesome.
Right? I love it. I love it. I definitely was very moved by If I Fight Back, I'll Lose. I think that it's just it was so surprising. Like it because we talked about it on the show. It's just not in other versions like that.
No, this version just hits different because it understood the core of the message.
Yeah.
Differently.
It's really cool.
All right.
What is your favorite White Knight Ren moment? So kind of in the same vein, heroic moment. And the one that won in this one was like kind of the bridal carry when he carries Goya out of the stadium. And then the second most loved moment was when he sets off the sprinklers. And then the third was when he shows up at the village. And then three people wrote in all of them because I guess I made it too hard. Which one was your favorite? I think I chose the sprinkler one.
Yeah, I chose the stadium.
Ah.
I just thought he was very hot. Like the sprinkler was great too, but he was still kind of like not fully, like he was just figuring out his thing, whereas like this was like he's like I will end you.
Yeah. He was very like smoldering in that scene. Yeah,
it was good.
Cool. All right, and what's your favorite crack ship? This was the most chaotic one, and I'm so sorry that I didn't think of all of these. But y'all are insane. Let me just say that.
Mm-hmm.
So many crack ships. I mean, this is a positive, right? I love that you guys chose so many of these, but it did make it very difficult. There were 83 people voted for MJ and Goen. 33 voted for Ren and Lita. 30 people voted for Tom and Ren. 27 voted for MJ and Hana. And then from there, it's just complete chaos. It's like MJ, Lita, barely got anything, which I thought I kind of thought they would. And then actually no, MJ Lita was a surprise for me. I understand it now, but it was a surprise for me when I was kind of doing this. Tom Gowen, Goya Lita, Rin Glockow. That was surprising. That was 2 people picked that. Rosalind and her secretary, 2 people picked that.
All the F4 and me.
All the F4 and me. Tom and me, 2 people picked that one. Goya and Mira, Auntie Yu and Uncle Ga, Tom and Dango, Tom and Glockow, Rin and anyone new, Hale and Goya. That's actually an interesting one. I mean, all these are good. I mean, they're funny as heck. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I chose MJ and Hana because I need that story. I also love Ren and Lita. MJ and Gowen also makes sense too, right? Like that just to me makes sense. I was surprised how like sort of Tom and Gowen was low compared to the other ships, right? Like Ren and Tom and MJ and Gowen. Like I was shocked that like
I was shocked too. And also there are a lot of MJ and Goya edits that I've seen on YouTube. So I was shocked that only one person voted that. But yeah, it did not come out the way I thought it was going to. And I'm sure if we had a larger pool, then we would probably get different results.
We should like maybe consider doing polls like 6 months from now and see how things have settled, because sometimes like fan fiction can like change how people view these things.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
It does change you a lot. A lot of people are reacting to them in the chat, and it's very funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah, you guys crack me up. All right. So that was the poll results. So I think we're going to now do our
fandom moments. No, fandom moments.
Fandom moments. Yeah.
Yeah. Just because like I just wanted to talk a little bit about our experiences within the fandom, because when we started this out, like I don't know. I don't know what we expected. What did we expect? What did you expect when you started this out?
In terms of fandom, it was kind of hard because it was our first Thai show.
Yeah.
First like Southeast Asian, I think, show in general. So it was like very like I didn't really know what to expect, other than that it was going to be probably difficult to, find like resource like certain things to translate things and whatnot. But it wasn't actually that hard. Like it kind of all happened super fast. Like we found Light and some other people to translate things and to make sense of things. So
yeah,
cool.
and what I found was the longer that we were at it, I think it was about the 3rd episode, we started to like really collect like cool people that wanted to like hang out with us all the time on Twitter or in our comments sections, and people would go back and like watch our other episodes. I'm really happy we did the like intro episode 0. I'm really happy like we started from the beginning, because it just created that consistent place for people to go to. And I remember the moment that I was like, oh, we're making like a big fandom difference, at least with like Western people, because people were leaving my drama list to hang out in our comment section.
Yeah. That was interesting. I remember posting on my drama list a few times, and then it was just it was clear that there was like a certain amount of people that wanted to criticize, and then there was a certain amount of people that wanted to celebrate. And a lot of the people that wanted to celebrate ended up coming to our channel comments, and it kind of became a forum at that point, which I super happy to see. But it was just great because it was just a safe place for us to, you know, do the tinfoil tiaring and theorize about things and talk about things and love it. So yeah, not what I was expecting, but better.
And your favorite like fan moment was when Patha commented on your video?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I actually really liked making all of my edits, and I really liked making the edit of the 90s, if F4 Thailand was a 90s rom-com.
Yeah.
That was probably like, you know, shout out to Kyle, your husband, for
my husband was the voiceover guy.
Yeah, that was so amazing, and it was great. And it's funny because I would do something different now because I've learned so much in editing just from how many edits I've put out for this show.
Yeah.
But I'm still very proud of that one. Like, it just made me very happy. And yeah, I loved when Patha commented on it, but he also commented on the Honey Badger video, but he also saw the edit, the 90s rom-com edit, because he liked it.
Yeah.
So I was really happy about that.
Yeah. I think me doing threads on the costuming and then like hearing people talk about the costuming the same way was my like, I know it sounds so silly, but like I don't expect anybody to like take what I say seriously, and people did and like jived with it, which made me really happy. So yeah, it
was really cool. All of our conversations have all been just amazing, and comments and on Twitter and meeting so many cool people, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
It's very awesome.
So do you want to do some questions first, or do you want to
do you want to split the questions and we can like do a few and then the lore and then continue?
We can do that. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So you ready for questions? Question and answer. So along with the poll, people actually wrote us in questions, and just for efficiency's sake and trying to like answer as many people's questions as possible, I actually combined the questions. So the first question is from Noor and Yeah. If you were given full reign in directing and writing this script for one of the episodes, which episode would it be and why? Or which F4 Thailand episode made you think, oh, I really wish I wrote that episode, and why? So I think they're kind of combined. So yeah. The two.
Yeah, I'm sure you've thought about this one. What's your answer to this one?
I wish I had written and directed the kidnapping episode. It is entirely my thing. And it was executed beautifully, and it showed that every other television show and fictional property in North America that ends, you know, villain redemption and death is full of it, and it now makes my standard higher for fiction, which it already was pretty high because of you know, really enjoying K-dramas and C-dramas and T-dramas, but this just showed like even more so that redemptive storytelling and like it's never too late is really important.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I think the only thing I can think of is the Lita stuff. Like, if I had a chance to like write that, or like I would have done the Lita stuff where she exposes herself. That was the only thing I was like, you know, I would have written this just a little differently. Not that I didn't like how it was written, but I would have done something different. So yeah, that's all I can really think of.
Yeah. I very rarely with this show feel like I know better than the creators, and that makes me really happy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So the next one is, do you want to read the next one? Or
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go back and forth. Brandy said, "Would you rather eat KFC with Beast Tom or Indy Ren?"
Yeah.
Mine's for sure Beast Tom.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, me too. I love Ren, but he might say something weird like I don't like chicken. And then then I have to eat all of the KFC and I don't need that.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly. I just want to like witness Tom as the
like
Beast.
and he's like angry eating. Like I need fuel to be angry. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. This one, next one was from Brianna. Which of the guys from F4 would you choose to be if you could be one of them for a day?
I really don't know about this one. I mean, MJ would be fun because he has all the games in his house. He's got
Yeah.
like, stuff to do that looks like a lot of fun. So I'd probably be MJ.
Yeah. I would be Ren. And
You are Ren. You like, yeah.
yeah, I think too much and I see things. And I have this way about me of like knowing things are gonna happen. Not like in the exact way, but I like get a vibe of like, oh, this is a good time to do X.
Mhm.
And I'm also an artist, but because I'm a mom and a full-time working human and stuff like that, I don't have time to draw or to create the way I want to all the time. And so it would just be cool just to be him and be able to like draw bridges and
Yeah.
draw whatever I want and just chill. Be
You're good at drawing.
I am. Yeah, I just don't
Yeah.
I don't spend any time on it cuz it feels like like it it feels like I have no time to commit to it and I would be
Mm.
faster at it if I practiced, but I don't. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
hear ya.
sigh.
Yeah. Oh. At Subway dates
It's
and
everybody
a lot of people,
asked this
Shanna,
question.
Andy, Nana, Psyche Girl, Sita, Kira, LB Watches TV, and Edith all asked, what are the chances we are getting a wedding special? What arcs would they combine? If you could extend F4 Thailand to 20 episodes, is there something you would remove from this version or add from another version? This
Yeah.
is like a kind of a complicated
Yeah,
combination.
it's kind of like are we going to get a special if we could have extended it? It was kind of just like what would we do to like continue on the story. I kind of took
Yeah.
it that way and
Yeah.
I combined a lot of stuff. Sorry guys.
Yeah. I think I combined something else to it as well
Oh,
last
okay.
night. So sorry for making it even more complicated,
But like we've been asked a lot about a special or continuing on the story, which like personally I'm very happy and satisfied with the story that is given. I would totally jive with a wedding special, right?
yeah, same.
I would like because there could be chaos that could be introduced and it wouldn't mean that the main characters were necessarily having Tom and Goya were necessarily having to go through trials again. But
Right.
the other three boys, they are totally up for grabs during a wedding episode. Do you want to hear what I would do?
Yeah, totally. Canada?
Okay. I was gonna just say a trip, right? It's a destination wedding, and they're
Yes.
inviting all of the people that they know, and so we'd get like Hannah and Lita and Mira, and we'd get like all this drama with Hanning there, and like all of this drama around the boys, and like them trying to resolve what they want next. But then with the background of the chaos of Tom and Goya getting married would add enough drama to give everything exactly what the story would need to be to feel successful. Basically Tom and Goya being mom and dad to the rest of the boys. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah. I agree. I'm down with that. We need a trip. We need a wedding. It could be the Mira, because the Mira character typically, I mean, they said she's gonna get married. So it could be her wedding and they could all go to where is she? London?
She's in
France.
Paris. Yeah.
So they could all go there and fun stuff could ensue, but
yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, like, I'm not really sure I would extend it in any other way. I know people want to see Tom and Goya in like domestic bliss, and I do too, but I just I don't think it's worth it for I just don't see it happening like for how Hanayori Dango usually goes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Who knows? I don't know.
I just don't want to North Americanize a story that is pretty much perfect to me, where we feel like we need to have more episodes. But you could add in the feeling of the trips, which happen. There's 3, right?
Yeah.
Trips. And add those in and give them a wedding. And I think that would be great.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, the wedding does happen. Yes. All right, the next one is from Missy, and I wonder if this is our Missy. Fangirling only.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's a very interesting question. So, what aspect of this adaptation do you expect to become popular in Hanayori Dango lore that is incorporated in future versions? I love this question so much.
I like this one too. Yeah. Okay, what's your answer? I'm
You're
not
making
sure if
me
I know
answer
yet.
first.
I don't know. I saw this one. I didn't take the time to really think about it. Like, because like the shoe stuff is there because that was in an Meteor Garden, and I don't know. I mean,
the beast stuff has been in other versions, right? So it's specifically this version and something that they did. And I have 2 answers. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, please.
Tom's atonement for his sins. So, like, specifically making reparations and turning him back into being a good member of society. And I would say the grass to star transition, which is not explicit in any other version. She is a flower or a weed that lives in the Meteor Garden, kind of symbolically in the other ones. This one is like she transforms into a meteor with the rest of them.
Right.
That is explicit in the symbolism. And I think that's going to continue on. I think it's going to be taken in and given to other adaptations. There may be another question in here. Is there another question where it's asking us, who do we think is the next country?
Yeah. That one's still in here. Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something to do with that. I also kind of like the time stuff. Again, that was like my favorite symbol. So, and that's not really in other versions. It's time to grow up. You can't, be like this forever. Running out of time and all of that. I really, really liked the Neverland stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I could see them doing that in future versions and really drawing upon that theme. So
yeah, very much. All right, next set of questions. There's so many questions, y'all. Like, there was over 110 questions.
Yeah. We had to get rid of a bunch. We had to
consolidate them down.
Yeah. All right, what was your Gabby says, what was your favorite crack theory that didn't happen in the show? Basketball. Hands down. Easy.
Yeah.
Basketball. Goya playing basketball. Come on. Where is it?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for it.
Given to the chicken show. Sacrificed to the Colonel of Sanders.
They could have at least had her play because supposedly she played basketball from all the clues that we got and then nothing. It's okay. I'm not mad about it, but it didn't happen.
It's I would say Hana and MJ was my favorite because it's in the comic and it's enough to like, I was like, oh, maybe, but so is basketball. It was just, but the fact that he's like, oh, she's sexy and cute. Like, I was like, it's all there. You're right, Ty.
I can't believe that Hana didn't come back at all. Like, I still cannot believe that. Blows my mind. But again, she's in other stuff. So.
If there was 20 episodes or a special, like, I would hope they would bring the actress back to have that kind of resolution with that friendship, because Goya needs more friends than less. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next one is from Laura Huzema, that she gave us her pronunciation. Book and J kind of said the same thing. What made you guys so interested in mythology and symbolism? What made you look for them, or how does it come naturally? Does it come naturally just out of curiosity? Similar question was like, did you go to school for this?
Oh, also people asked us if we were writers.
Yes, that was
Yeah,
another one that
yeah.
we that's kind of similar. Like, do you do storytelling? Do you write this kind of stuff? I mean, short answer is no. uh Long answer is a lot more complicated. Why don't you go ahead, because you pulled me into this stuff.
Did I?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay. This was how I was raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad had a doctorate in philosophy and was sort of a student of history, as well as was really into sort of mythic type storytelling. And so from a young age, I watched Star Wars, but knew it had influences with Joseph Campbell, and how Lucas was influenced by that. And so, like, even at a young age, I watched The Power of Myth, which was done by Bill Moyers, and he interviewed Joseph Campbell. In addition to that, like, I also have a background in like Arthurian legend. My dad just like told me about these things growing up. Like, it was like living with a professor, right? So I like absorbed this stuff. But then he passed many years ago, and I kind of like just got interested in and of it myself. Like, I like understanding why stories work for me psychologically, and that from a perspective of having a structure to the stories is how mythology and symbolism work. We as humans really like patterns. And so mythology actually, and Joseph Campbell's brand of talking about like the hero's journey through the Hero with a Thousand Faces, and it or the Mask of a Thousand Hero. I'm tired.
You got it right the first time.
Yeah, Hero with a Thousand Faces. Yeah, and his like 5 mythologies books or whatever, like where he talks about the different East and West and stuff like that.
Right, that's the Mask of God.
Mask of God stuff. It really it comes from a place of like finding the core of why humans resonate with stories. And I think that it's just really, really important to like be like, well, why does this work for me, so that I can find more things that work for me. It's entirely selfish. And then I talk to you guys about it and you seem to like it.
Yeah, because it helps to tell us the same thing. It's like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, and basically what happened with me is that I'm very interested in anything involving like humanities studies and whatnot, but I didn't go to school for this stuff. I did something much more practical, but I wanted to go into film originally, and I was talked out of it by my mom, and still like a sore spot. But then later in my life, watching The Last Jedi, and then I decided to hop online and figure out, why the heck does this resonate with me? What's going on here? Why do I feel like my life has changed? And then I found a whole group of people online who were the Raylos, who were talking about Campbell and myth and folklore, and it wasn't just tropes. It was, this big, breadth of knowledge that I had never stumbled on before. I had never seen as important. I never really got into it. And of course, I found Marie Claire through all of that, but there were a lot of other people. There were Tumblr posts and people I'm still friends with now, like Nat and whatnot.
Friends I've spent time with in real life, because
Yeah.
like fandom goes beyond.
Yeah, I've
Like,
met so many
just
people through this. Yeah.
yeah, and then it like morphed into BTS for you, right? Like,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
The
BT
Raylo to BTS pipeline was
yeah.
very strong. Yeah.
And like
And a similar thing. Yeah.
yeah, like BTS itself tells mythological and psychological stories through their music and
Mhm.
through their other media that they do. And so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been quite, it's still a journey. Like I'm still on this journey. You're still on this journey. Like it's very cool. I'm still reading things that are like, Jungian basics and
Mhm.
fairy tale basics, like still reading about stuff. There's just such a endless amount of knowledge out there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we kind of got into all this stuff.
And when we started podcasting together, I think we both like
oh yeah.
went crazy, because like
Yeah.
we fed each other things that we learned
Mhm.
through podcasting and through talking about story and how these things work. And like I have a degree in psychology, but
Mhm.
I didn't put it together until I started talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know? Like I had all of
Yeah.
these tools, but I didn't like, and I still have to do tons of research. Like
Oh, yeah,
I read all
for
the
sure.
time because I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. And then it just goes into my I don't know everything. I don't. Like there's no way I could, but I do tons of research, and that's yeah.
Yeah, and we feed off of each other really well because we learn and we perceive things differently. So
Yeah.
we both take it super seriously.
Yeah.
So
It's like weirdly seriously, and people are like, what are you doing? But no, I have become a better person analyzing this stuff because Thai exists in the world, and I don't think I would be where I am because without her, without you. And like I feel like I've helped like drive you and like cheer you on and be like,
yeah. It's a mutual thing there. Definitely.
Just, like, find your people and like they'll inspire
Yeah.
you, kind of thing, right? Like that's
Exactly.
kind of the concept.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the next one is from Hexa, like hexagon without the gun, and is a wit alone, and Army Maruna.
Sounds close enough.
Aside from bell hooks, other book recommendations: feminism, anti-patriarchy, family relations, social class. Can you make a post or a video collection of all the books and tales shared in this deep dive? Oh my god, maybe.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
That's a lot. I was just really into bell hooks during the recording of this because I was using it as like a way to, I don't know, distract myself from some personal stuff that was going on in my life, which I didn't talk about at all on the show, but I did talk about on Twitter a little bit. I would say Ursula K. Le Guin, which I'm actually going to go into a little bit later on in this. All of her works about writing are excellent. She's feminist, she's anti-patriarchal, she's Jungian, so she's got a lot of that. Starting with Joseph Campbell and The Power of Myth will explode your brain a lot, and it's a good place to start, and then go where it's interesting. I would say actually even reading folklore as it is written. And there's like folklore libraries on the internet where you can just like read folklore tales, and they're categorized into kind of like how they work.
Yes. Yeah, they categorize them by kind of like tropes in some cases.
Yeah.
There's a really good site that I can link for people at some point. But like you said, like go where it takes you is really important, I think, because Joseph Campbell is really, really hard to read. And a lot of people think that they have to like read The Hero with a Thousand Faces.
Yeah.
And you absolutely do not have to do that. Watching Power of Myth, like MC said, is like the best place to start because Bill Moyers asks him questions that help us better understand what Campbell's saying.
He leads the witness.
Yeah, because like Campbell talks in like very cyclical terms and everything is like related to him. So if you're watching it for the first time, it's like, wait, I don't understand. This is all gobbledygook. But then Bill Moyers will like kind of point him to the point that he knows that he's trying to make, and then that'll make things a little bit more easier to understand. And then from there, like if you're more interested in the feminism aspects of myth, then go to like Murdoch, and read the heroine's journey. Or if you're more interested in the anti-patriarchal stuff, read Bell Hooks. Or if you're more interested in the fairy tales, then
there's the
read like
Swan Maiden book.
There's Uncloaked, which is
yeah.
about Red Riding Hood. That's really good. There's a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, Uncloaked is good. I've picked up The Heroine with 1,001 Faces, and
I have that one too,
only a chapter into it, so I can't really speak to. She's very anti-Campbell.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
I haven't gotten that far into it because of that. There's also Women and Other Monsters, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
That I started reading. I love it. It's
I
so
read
good.
The Dangerous Lover, which was actually an academic work that was published through the University of Ohio. Like you'll just start to like find stuff as soon as you start getting into these things.
Totally.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, chat with people online and be like, what are you doing? We just like read so much stuff to like think about things in different ways. And Joseph Campbell's Goddesses is really great too, if you're, because that was later in life after he had decided to start listening to more women.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Next one.
Yeah, next one. Friend or you gave me a pronunciation, but I'm having a really hard time with it. I'm so sorry. And then also Kidding and Abby said, what is next for us? Combined analysis, covering any dramas, reaction videos. Neither of us are going to be doing reaction videos. I'll tell you that.
I can't. I make dumb faces.
Both of us are awful at them. Like I just cry and I'm really quiet.
I'm just
and then I yeah. Like, but people like that. People like that. I just don't like it. So I'm sorry.
And then I like say dumb stuff and then I feel dumb for like saying it. Like I'm too I need time to like churn and like be smart.
Same. I need to think about it longer. I'm going back to video essays. There's always potential for us to work on projects in the future. We've done stuff together before a lot. So we'll probably do something in the future. Marie Claire's trying to get me onto a couple of projects, but I need to make some video essays first.
I know.
And then I can start thinking about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, what are you covering next? What's your next big one?
Well, I mean Star Wars, because I still do that.
Yes, you do.
I still do that. I'm going to be going to Star Wars Celebration, so that'll be interesting. Probably covering Kenobi. I have some stuff planned with Fangirling Only. We're going to do some Dark Mother in Star Wars stuff, so that'll be really cool as a way to talk about it. We're trying to figure out if we can do a Turning Red video analysis, but my life has been just chaos with my personal stuff, so I haven't done as much of that. The only other kind of non-Star Wars stuff I've committed to doing is doing Lore Olympus. So Lore Olympus is working on a show, and this is a webtoon comic, like webcomic that is out there, produced by Rachel on Twitter, used Band-Aid. I forget her last name, but she's actually working with Jim Henson Animation, and it's going to be a show on Netflix this year.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. So that's the only thing I've committed to do on my channel, my What the Fiction channel, but What the Force will still continue to exist. And I have a lot of stuff with Ty on there if you ever want to go back and be like, what is this stuff with Star Wars?
Yeah. You can listen to us like first getting into it and being like, what is this? This is so cool.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yep. So do you want to do another thing of questions, or do you want to do
let's go ahead and do the lore.
Okay.
We'll take a short break from the questions and watch something fun.
So yeah, I made a video, and the setup of this is This is all about the Hanayori Dango musical.
If you did not know it existed,
now you
get
do.
ready.
And so
Now you do.
there are so many clips out there. Like, I had over 40 minutes of clips to whittle this down to, but it's a very short video. And I hope you are in love with it as much as I am. I'm going to try to buy them at some point and maybe do a group watch. We'll see. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Enjoy.
원하는 대로 레드카드 붙여주지. 넌 끝났어.
까불지 말라고.
뭐야 이 느낌은 예전에 어디선가.
야, 치카사. 야, 괜찮아?
넌 말이야. 전부 다 가졌다고 생각했는데 돈으로 살 수 있는 것 말고는 가지고 있는 게 아무것도 없는 것 같아. 좀 불쌍해진다.
치쿠 씨,
응.
네가 좋다.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. When we discovered this while we were watching F4 and we were like sending clips to each other, it was just so cool. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's not really an easy way to watch it at this point, but you can find a bunch of clips on YouTube.
Yeah. I've decided at some point I will spend the $250 to buy both versions and a unregion locked version of or a DVD player to be able to do it, and then I'll do a group watch or something. But
That would be amazing.
yeah, so there's basically two Hanayori Dango musicals, and the one that it was done in Korea was a re-up of the original Japanese version, where they just changed the words to Korean, but they kept the names. So the names, like,
Wow.
it's Like they used the Japanese names for the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obsessed with the first one.
Yeah.
Because like the actors go hard. The Japanese version, like one of the actors is singing and does a front flip. I put that in the video because I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's
And
cool.
yeah, it follows more, like it follows the manga more. Although there's a stabbing incident that happens in the first there is some like weird stuff that happens. Like there is a stabbing incident, but it doesn't have amnesia, and
Yeah.
it's just a way for him to confess in the hospital,
Oh, okay.
which is interesting. And that was the Ken from the boy band. I forget. It was on the slide, but
they were talking about in the chat as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah, that's Ken. And then
Mm-hmm.
like he sings the song Sararange, which is like I love you.
Yeah.
But they just literally translated it into Korean. So there is two versions of basically the same musical. And then there's the, I'm gonna butcher the name, Tartar Oscar review, which is this is an all-female group that does performances, and they put on their own thing. And they actually took the Hanayori Dango show plot more closely and had that be the like production. And it ends on Christmas, and they sing like White Christmas at the end. And like yeah, it's all female, so like even like Domaji was a woman, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's like their thing, that's like their big thing. And
It's cool.
oh man, I'm obsessed with the Hanayori Dango musicals. And the point is, what I like, even though I had like little headers to say what was going on, you can tell what's going on even without them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in so
You
many
can.
in so many ways, this would be the only way I would like an English Hanayori Dango.
Ah, that's your answer to that question?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
An
I totally
English
agree.
an English specific Hanayori Dango could be done as a musical. And I have reasons. And those reasons
love
are
it.
that with I Want songs, or with confession songs like happen, like Sararange, like or the I Love You song that Domaji sings, it it actually gives us internal POV that is much required for Western audiences, because we're dumb and we don't know how to empathize with somebody unless they say things out loud. And
yeah.
I truthfully think that this would be the only way they could do it in North America
Yeah.
and have it be successful.
Yeah, I agree. I never thought of that. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And then we would be able to actually like understand what they're saying, because like none of these have subs.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it is one of the things about Hanayori Dango lore that I was like, I have no way to put this in. In some ways, F4 Thailand is kind of a musical, because we have these very personal themes and songs that the characters are actually singing in their own voices in key moments. Like you think of Silhouette from Gowin's perspective, you think of In the Wind, you think of Who Am I, or even Nighttime from Time's perspective, or Best Life from MJ. Like you could turn it into a musical in Thailand very easily.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So that was my Hana. It tied in, I swear.
Yeah. I think everybody really enjoyed it, myself included. So that was fun. That was awesome. All right. We have just a few more questions. Well, not just a few more, but we have more questions.
More questions.
All right. So Pashi and Cell said, how long do you guys spend on F4 Obsessed? Research, planning, reporting, other stuff included, and find the symbolism and meaning. Too much time.
Too much time. That's the short answer.
Yeah.
You go first. You're the one who spends the most amount of time.
Yeah, I because yeah, just because of the stuff that we had to put together, which thank goodness that's done. But yeah, for weekly, I would say because we had the OST stuff midweek. I mean, we record for anywhere between like 2 hours to 3 hours. Sometimes that actually takes 4 hours with the setup and with just talking. So that's like 4 hours, and then editing takes as long as the video is.
Mm-hmm.
And then rendering takes usually an hour and a half, but I can go do stuff after that, and then uploading it and all that. So it definitely takes a lot of time. And but then on top of that, like the research and everything, like watching the video or um watching the show a second time, clipping it, taking notes, gifting everything. I mean, I spend my entire Saturday, like every single Saturday since it started, I've spent on this. And then on Sundays I get up and I edit. So because I can't finish everything on Saturday because we record Saturday night. So then on Sunday morning I get up and I edit. So it's taken up my entire weekend, plus research, plus we did lores, so that took preliminary research during the week. Like I said, the OSTs we did during the week. Yeah,
you did a symbolism video.
Oh yeah, we did symbolism. We did the trailer 2 analysis we put together like in one day. It was like such a last minute thing, but that was crazy. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I know you spend just as much time on your notes.
On researching, yeah. I tend to like to watch the video and then like run away from the content and do something else. So like I'm a mom, so I go and like drive my kids to their events and stuff like that. But in the last few weeks, so the last month and a bit, this show takes up my entire Saturday. Like I can't leave. I have to like do enough work because there's so much stuff to remember. Like that's the problem with this is that like you have not only all of the symbolism and all of the threads that are kind of woven together in the show. It's just because the show is so good, like really.
Yeah.
But then you have all of the other versions that you have to pay attention to and remember. And then you have all of your folklore stuff and symbolism that you have to like think about. So it was helping me a little bit to do threads between the weeks because then I was like, and then I would spend like an hour or two working on one of those.
Yeah, it was helpful for me to do my little edits because then I could like kind of rewatch certain scenes and see them from different ways and remember parallels and all of that.
The costume stuff, though, was taking me an obscene amount of time because I was going every episode and grabbing a little square of what everybody was wearing and like keeping track of it and like making notes and like trying to figure out what it all meant.
I can tell you exactly what like where every scene is just by the thumbnail. Like I could tell you, like if you're like, oh, this is when this happens, I'll be like, oh yes, I know exactly which video that is in on like within the playlist. Like I can go grab it for you. Like that's how well I know this show now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And like you certainly put in way more work just because like editing and like the gifs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like both of us are very detailed when we come up with our analysis, and we didn't want to do a bad job, right? We wanted to give it our all as best we could. So yeah.
Susan said, shout out to your husbands and families for supporting you.
Yeah.
Shout out to my husband who made dinner as many times as he needed to whenever I was down here in my cave.
Kyle's been driving the kids every Saturday morning to like for the last like month and a half that they've had their activities because I couldn't. I was deep in research. I was like trying to figure. I'm like, what is this important? Why is and like you do the rewatches and you typically rewatch 3 times or do the watches 3 times.
Yeah,
and I would do it 2 to 3 times depending. And sometimes I would rewatch other episodes or parts of them to like be like, hey, what is this?
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Next one, Be Light and Glow Car. If you could ask or share one thing with Patha, what would it be? And have you contacted him yet? No, I haven't yet. I'm working on it. I do want to. I want to put it out there in the universe and see if he's willing to talk to us because I think that would be valuable. Just again, life stuff got in the way from me saying like, oh, I really want to talk to this guy too.
Yeah.
Do I have the energy to talk to him and do a good job on it? And I would only want to do it if I had that
Yep.
energy. But
Yeah, that'll be a lot. Yeah.
what is one thing that you would want to share or ask?
I would want to ask about the anti-patriarchal messaging
Yeah.
and how much of that had been baked in from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, where did it come from? How did they get there?
There's a lot of anti-violence stuff and anti-capitalism too. There's also
Yeah.
that. Like, so I would want to show him F4 obsessed. And so like by reaching out to him, it will show him that like we got it. We got what he was trying to do. And then I would want to talk to him about the importance of modern day fairy tale.
Yeah.
That's entirely what I would want to talk to him about. And like what, like, and through the course of an interview with him, I would want to talk about how story is fundamental for change in our society. And that it can give us the seeds of change for ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Totally. Right there with you. And it would be awesome. It would be awesome if we had that opportunity. So
yeah.
we shall see. Susan and Assassin Sage and Maria asked, how did you discover Hanayori Dango? Why is it important to you? How did you stumble upon it? And related is, what was your first version?
Yeah.
So these are all kind of in the same area. Marie Claire told me about Meteor Garden 2018 back when we both started really getting into Asian dramas. And she was like, I think you're gonna like this because I like the
And it was
like
it was before it was
tropey.
starting, right? Yeah.
I think it was already on.
It was already
on Netflix.
Oh,
It
I
was
was
on
watching
Netflix.
it because I was like, I'm a Hanayori Dango fan. I'm gonna watch this version of it.
Yeah, I had never,
Yeah.
and because I had just started watching dramas, but and Marie Claire's like, hey, you like trope heavy stuff, like you should watch this. And then it just opened that whole world of like, oh my god, there's like multiple versions of this, like
yeah.
what else do I need to watch? And so it just kind of went from there. But I was obsessed with Dylan Wang and Shin Wei. I just thought they were just so cute, pineapple head.
I would message you pineapple pictures.
Look, it's damning sick.
Yeah. I was really into anime one year and like watching a lot of anime, and then Netflix like presented Playful Kiss or A Mischievous Kiss, the Korean version to me, and that led me down a T-drama track where I watched a lot of
Refreshment,
romance. You, like Aaron Yan is like, I love him. He's very hot. And then like sometime after that, like maybe a couple of weeks, it's like, would you like to watch Boys Over Flowers, the Korean version? And like I consumed it. I gotta say, I still have some problems with that version of it, but it's still, even in its most Korean melodramatic way, is still so good. Like, so good. Like, it's all there, right? It's all there. And then
it's got its moments.
Yeah, not too long after that, I was really into Asian dramas. And so like when I saw Meteor Garden, I'm like, oh my god, it's a Hanayori Dango remake. And before it was actually on Netflix, I watched Hanayori Dango because my friend had been bugging me. She's like, you like Boys Over Flowers, you haven't seen Hanayori Dango? And I'm like, fine, I'll watch it. And then I was like, what? So I read the manga before I watched Meteor Garden.
Yep.
And the rest is history. And until just before this show, I had only seen the first season of Meteor Garden 2001. So that was just me being like, I got to get off this bus. The sound is too bad.
Yeah, I remember you going through that. Yeah, I remember because also when you started watching the Hanayori Dango Japanese version, you started sending me like clips and stuff from it, and you were like, "What is this music? Listen to this music. It's
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Why is this Harry Potter music in the show?"
Oh.
It was cracking me up, and I was just like, "Okay, obviously I have to watch this now because this is ridiculous."
I'm so annoyed. I'm like, this is so cool. Why is this thing this way?
Yeah, it used to bother me a lot with shows. My God, all the time. You don't do it as much anymore because we watch the same stuff.
I know.
That is so funny. Next question.
Mira PR? What is your favorite drama ever without F4? Hard.
It's really hard because it's like there's so many genres. Like I have a different fave for different genres, I think.
Yeah.
Like I really like things like Sweet Home and Strangers from Hell. Like I love Korean horror,
Oh.
but that's definitely not probably the question that's not the answer they want. So I would say I think one of my favorites of all time is Fight for My Way.
Oh, you dragged me into that one. I love it.
I love that one. I don't typically like Friends to Lovers, but I love Fight for My Way. And I also like yes, yeah. Oh, it's so hot. Oh my God. Seo Jun is like, and then also I really like Coffee Prince. It's really hard for me to choose in that area because I'm like, Coffee Prince has so much angst and it's so good. And it's in like that time.
I did
during,
watch
like,
Coffee Prince finally.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
It's so good. It's like in that time of Korean dramas where everything was still melodramatic, but it had such a kookiness to it. And not everything is as polished as it is now. There was still some like little bit of grittiness, kind of just kind of felt real, but it was still very fairy tale. And I like that time period of Korean dramas a lot. So
I'm gonna cheat and do by country.
Hmm?
I'm gonna cheat with my answer and do by country.
Oh, that's not fair. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, because best T drama. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. That was a good way to do it. Best J drama, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so best C drama. I have seen this show, even though it's like over 70 episodes, 3 times. And it's this
Eternal Love.
No, although I have seen that over 3 times. But it's actually the story of Minglan, which is a historical drama, and it's over 70 episodes. I love Eternal Love and Ashes of Love and Eternal Love a Dream and pretty much anything genre I will die over. Love and Redemption is also solid. Those are my recs. T drama, Refresh Man, even though it's problematic, but if you want a non-problematic, really wonderful one, Lost Romance. J drama, Kaka Fukaka.
Yes, Kakafu Kaka.
Yeah.
I love Good Morning Call, but like Kakafu Kaka is like such a gem. It's so problematic.
It's so good.
It's got so much weird stuff in it. It's amazing.
You and I like weird stuff.
Oh, it's so weird. It like don't go into that one just like, oh, it's gonna be a romance. It's like so weird, but yeah.
For K-dramas, what I recommend to people who have never seen a K-drama before is Crash Landing on You, but what I really love is Flower of Evil, and I'm looking for a reason to rewatch it.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'll rewatch it with you.
Good.
Because everybody else is like talking about it.
It's
Twitter,
so good,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And Teresa said, how to deal with post-series hangover. We do this.
We talk about it. We hang out.
We talk about it.
We do edits. We hang out with friends and make fanfic and also like I strategically always start a new show just before the end of another show, even if it's terrible.
Yeah, I've done that just to give yourself something to hang on to.
Yeah, something to be like, I'm invested in these people, I guess.
Yeah. I hear ya. Yeah, I'm still watching the Business Proposal. I still have a few episodes left, so yay.
Yeah, no, it's solid. Yeah.
Totally.
The last one is oh god.
Srija Arun. Srija
Okay.
Arun.
I would like to ask you how you guys met your husbands and if there's any parallels between your love stories, Tom and Goya, like any moments or behaviors, and which character do you guys love and relate to the most?
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
My husband and I met in high school.
So yes.
So there you go. That's why I like these types of stories. I mean, that's not why, but it's definitely a plus. And no, we did not hate each other. So, but it's representative of growing up and all of that. So, yeah, I find similarities all the time with high school dramas in general, and any kind of story that's about growing up and growing together and as partners, hard journeys. That's why I like lots of conflict, because I have lots of conflict with my husband. I've had lots of conflict with him because we got married so young. But yeah.
How
And
old
we
were
already
you?
answered the last part.
How old
so.
were you when you got married?
23.
I got married younger than you.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd been together since we were, well, it's kind of complicated, but we've known each other since I was 15.
So, I met my husband Kyle in my first month of university, and I went out because my dad, who I've already talked about on the show, was like, Marie Claire, you should join the Gauntlet, which is the student newspaper, and write articles for them. And you should go out to speech and debate club, because in high school I won a speech and debate competition. And and he was like, extracurriculars are what make university important and awesome. My dad was such a weird dude. I love him.
Yeah,
I love him.
interesting.
He didn't even care if I did well in school. It's
Aw.
like he was like, as long as you're growing. I'm like,
Oh, he had his own standards.
yeah, exactly. And so he was like, you should go out, and they had like these Wednesday speakers corner thing, which in the old student union building of where I went to university, there was this stairwell that kind of like twisted around to go up. And in the bottom, in the lowest floor, was this podium. And I'm going to tell you this story, and it's going to sound like a drama. Like I went, I couldn't make it because I had like other things, and then I decided to drop a class, and so I suddenly had time, and it was like 3 weeks into the start of school, and I showed up, and there was this guy going on and just like ranting at everybody, because it was like lunchtime, so the hallways were kind of full, and he was like and he was so well spoken. I was super impressed. And he got down, and I went up to him, and I'm like, wow, you were like really impressive in how you were talking about all this stuff. And like he tells the story, and he's like, I noticed this really cute lady, like girl, like watching me. And that was the first time he had decided to actually talk at Speaker's Corner, even though he had been going to school there for 4 years.
Oh, funny.
And
That's adorable.
that was where my parents met. Like, not
That's
like
so bizarre.
like a couple of meters away from where my parents met. Like literally that spot.
Yeah.
But he was like with somebody long term, and I had started dating a guy, and so we were friends for a couple of years, and then got together. And then got married 2 years after we like got together. We got married.
Nice.
So I was married at 22, which is just like, whoa.
Yeah, Corey was 22 and I was 23. I could have that wrong. I might have been 22. He might have been 20. I mix them up, but we were, same kind of, we were married young. And we met in drama. It was like after school drama club. And he was new. I had been in drama for the 2 years, and he was new. And of course, anytime a boy shows up at drama club, you're like, who is this guy? And he was cute. He's so cute. He's still cute. But yeah, he was very good looking for somebody going to drama club, and he happened to be on the football. He was originally on the football team. So he was a football guy that wanted to do drama.
Oh my God, High School Musical-ish.
I know. Everyone's like, why are you here? What are you doing? And he's like, well, I wanted to try something different. And I was 100% attracted to him from then on out. But yeah, and we had like a rocky road to get to where we are. But I mean, love of my life.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. So next question.
Yeah.
We already
Oh.
answered how we became friends.
Yeah,
I
we
think.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Fawn said, if you could become friends with one person from the F4 Thailand production team / cast, who would it be? I feel like you're gonna say Patha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to learn from him. Like I want to hang out and just have a conversation, even if it's not recorded. I think he would be really, really brilliant. I would have to learn Thai and languages and me don't.
Yeah.
I barely speak English, so that's
Yeah.
it's not great.
I would have to say the same though, because like, I mean, I don't know if I could like hang out with the cast. They're a bit younger than me. Like, it would be
Yeah.
kind of weird.
The
but
the writing team is also pretty cool. Like they're on Instagram and they talk about stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to hang out with the writing team or with Patha. Loaded Tachos said, how are you planning on moving on to a new piece of fiction with fresh eyes after this? How has F4 Thailand changed how you will engage with storytelling and stories in the future?
I love this question, mainly because it probably won't change how I engage with them, because these are like this is just how I engage with media now, but it will make me more judgmental of Western shows, like it should.
Yeah, I think that's really what we take away from this, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm gonna be a lot more critical about the stuff that doesn't have all of like this. Like
Yeah.
That was the short answer.
Yeah.
trying to get through some of these because we're going way over what I thought we were gonna go, but that's okay. We're fine. Rini said, what's that moment when you realized you were in too deep with F4? And then the second question she had was, you have experience covering other equally addictive shows. How does F4 and Goya Tom compare to them? First question, I think first episode, 100%. The first episode, the kick with the flowers, grass symbolism, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I think even a little bit about how Opatha was talking about stuff in the behind the scenes thing.
Yeah.
I was like, this show is going to be different, Ty.
Yeah.
I think I said that to you, and I was like, oh God, we better be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even then I was like kind of skeptical because I was like, can they pull all of this off? Like, can they actually do what they're saying they're gonna do? And then they did it. And
then they did it, and we're like, oh, we're in trouble. This is gonna take forever to do all the time.
We were supposed to originally only do
hour, maybe
an hour, and then we were supposed to do it. We were gonna record every other week, and then I think right before, like, once we started seeing more of the stuff, we were like, we're gonna need to do this every week.
Yeah,
because
it's gonna be too much work to do it every other week.
Yeah. So it just became such a big thing so fast. And then the second question, how does this compare to like our other stuff that we've analyzed?
I would say it's on par with Raylo, like how much work that was.
I agree.
Raylo was very similar.
Yeah, in terms of like breaking down the themes and the ship and the stories and the individual stories and all of that, like that was, there's just as much folklore and myth in Raylo and that there is in F4 and vice versa.
And it's because Enemies to Lovers is like just that good, and it resonates with many people's psychology, and so it's easy to pull that out.
I agree. Wendy asked if we're interested in watching more Thai dramas. I think both of us are.
Yeah, I was looking at The Devil's Sister with Win. I watched the trailer for that. That looks awesome. I also there was a drama I started kind of just get a feel for other dramas that are in Thailand. So yeah, I'm gonna watch another Thai drama. They're awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. I've watched I still have to watch the Still Together, but I watched the first season of Together, and yeah, pretty much anything that looks good, I probably will watch it, especially with any, with the cast. I might not watch everything with the cast. I'm not entirely sure about some of the things, but I'm going to try at least one episode of certain things. But yeah.
Yeah, I have like a pretty like good eject button if I'm not enjoying something. So
same.
Yeah. Like
Same.
I'm literally at like episode 22 of 24 of a C drama, and I'm like, eh.
Time to get out.
It's time to not watch this anymore. I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so future adaptation question.
Yeah, Honey Badger asked,
and June Blitz as well asked this. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's two. Do you think we'll get a future adaptation? Which country would you like to take up the challenge and make another HYD version next? Which you basically
I have a different answer though. This is my caveat that was the only way that I'd accept a North American version of Hanaguri Dango and be happy with it. But so like a full adaptation of one of the musicals, right? Which would be cool. But I think Japan's going to be next, and they're going to re-up Hanaguri Dango because
I literally had the same thought when I read
this
question last night.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, I was like, Japan's going to do it again.
Yeah, they're going to
have to.
They're going to have to show up Thailand. This is our story. And they're not, I don't know if they can do it because they have a limit of like how it's 10 episodes. That's how long it is. That's how long their shows run for. So that's really hard.
But they can do 2 seasons.
They could set it. They'd have to say, we want to do 20 episodes and do it. Yeah.
I 100% agree. I think it's going to be Japan. I would like to see it personally because that is where it originated. That's where the story originated.
Yeah.
And I would just like to see, what they update. That'd be interesting.
And on a positive note, Hanaguri Dango 2005 is being loaded into Viki shortly.
Yeah.
So we can watch it without commercials and with awesome subs.
Yeah. And not in poor quality.
Oh, yeah. The quality will be way better. It'll be I can't. They like the tweet from Vicky was very like, we chose to do this because F4 Thailand was so good.
Yeah. Very strange. I was like, yes. Good to see.
I also don't think that we're going to get another version for probably 5 years. So I don't think it's going to be now. I think it'll be somebody's going to watch this and be like, we have to redo Hanaguri Dango Japan. Yeah. Just like how Meteor Garden had enough time. So it'll be for the 20th anniversary, maybe. So 2005 or 2025.
Yeah.
So 3 years?
We could see that.
Yeah.
And the rights have to come back around too, I think. So the rights have to be able to be renewed. So
yeah.
Cool.
All right. More questions.
It's our last set of questions. Yasmin said, what are the important lessons that you learned from F4 Thailand? Do you want to save that because we're going to talk about that after
we're going to
this.
talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. Blonde Tupperware said, violence is an interesting talking point. Similar to Braylo, I'm sure critics may point out how they think it promotes messages and tropes such as the girl changes the troubled boy or that Tom parallels abusive partners. What would you say in response to this kind of criticism? What do you think the show says about it or does differently from these ideas? I kind of wanted to tackle this from a certain perspective. I don't know about you, but I want people to think about what they think promotes violence, right? Like what in media promotes violence? Typically, at least from my perspective, it's shows or stories, movies that have the military involved, right? The boys will be boys type of themes of allowing people to get away with the bad things that they have done without ever criticizing it. In fact, glorifying it and celebrating it. Like F4 is not glorifying anything.
No. And there's I think you made this point on Twitter that there's a difference between showing violence to show that violence isn't the answer and showing violence to show that violence is the answer.
Yeah, like the difference between portraying something and like
so
glorifying it.
Anything in the American monomyth is more accepting of violence than this show. So that would be any Western movies, any superhero movies, anything like that is more like violence is the answer. Anytime a person dies as the solution to the problem promotes that violence is the answer, and any show that promotes the dominance is the only option is promoting violence. Even if it's not physical violence, if it's emotional control or it's you got to listen to what I say, anything that plugs into patriarchy is way more violent than this show, which does not promote violence. It shows anti-patriarchy and anti-violence.
Demanding that someone be locked away and put in prison
is violent.
Is violence. It's demanding violence. So like I don't see that in F4, and that's why like when certain things happen and people, the throwing of the stool and all of that, you're watching all of that and it's like that's not, I mean, clearly it's not promoting violence. It's hard to have that discussion though with people who are so black and white. I don't
we had the same problems with Raylo pop up from a fandom perspective. Like people were like, oh,
he threw her into a tree,
Kylo is an abusive person, and it's like, well, yeah, but then he gets better. Like this is fiction. It's supposed to give us like a pathway out of these conversations, right? Like that's it's giving us the story of how to not be violent any longer.
Exactly.
Right. Find a different path. And I could go, like, we could just talk about this for hours. And I mean,
we have some notes about it later.
Yeah. So. And we're going to talk a little bit about redemption and a little bit more in detail about some stuff. But
absolutely.
Elle, I would like to know what do you think about your Goya equals tulip symbolism theory now that the show has ended? I love it very much, and I was hoping to see Goya in a pretty tulip dress in the end, kind of like Cinderella, but we didn't get such a obvious confirmation. Is she just grass then? Would this transformation from grass to flower be incoherent with the story arc? No, I actually still think she's a tulip. Yeah, she still is. She's just graduating high school though. And so I understand the decisions the choices that were made, but tulips are mostly green most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. And I definitely think like multiple symbols can be true at the same time, right?
Yeah, like she's a star bride and be a tulip, and she can also be grass and be a tulip, and she can also be, and being human. Keeping two incoherent thoughts in your head at the same time is the best of us.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to just be one thing. We can be many things. And we can be different things depending on what we need at that time of our life. And at the end of this story, it was important that they showed that she was still grass because they wanted to show the importance that anyone can change these celestial beings, even just this like lowly grass. So yeah, I understand the decision too. As much as we wanted to see her in like a tulip type dress. Koi said, what is the most valuable scene in the series that people should pay attention to? Interesting.
I have my answer. Do you want?
Yeah. What's yours?
When Tom is getting beaten on the ground and says, I can't fight back or I'll lose. And it's entirely the point of the anti-patriarchal, anti-violence messaging. He cannot go back to the violent monster that he was. And so he can't even use violence he doesn't trust himself to use violence in a protective way at that point in his journey, which, I mean, Bell Hooks talks about how sometimes you have to use violence, but the wisdom that comes with being a full and complete person is knowing when, and
Right.
like that violence should be the last course of action and the last option.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, and it's very Jedi like, if from
Yeah.
a Star Wars perspective, knowing when and how to use these things means
Yeah.
that you are wise. And he was wise enough to know that in that moment he couldn't go back to violence.
Yeah. Very. I have to agree. It was between that and the scene where he closes the stadium, even though that's like not going to be closed forever. I think that was such an important
It was, yeah.
scene, and just because like
He talks about the
the
violence.
sound,
He talks
yeah,
about
he
all the
talks
things.
about
Yeah.
it. It's all
Yeah.
text.
Yeah.
The fact that we know that it's not going to be closed, it's going to open again, and it's going to be healed. I love that so much, and I also liked the music that happens there. The music is like incredible. It's very weighty. Okay, and then Orr said, what do you think of Tom's character? Like the portrayal of his inner suffering, the relationship with his mom, his view on the world, and how he carries himself. So I think that he is pure archetype. I love Tom as a character, but I love him more as like an archetype. And I think that they nailed it. They nailed it on the head with having him be the king. Like he is 100% the king archetype. Even his relationship to his mother is like, you know, King Arthur, and, you know, relationship to his mother. Like it's all the same. It's all like, you know, we see it over and over and over again, and they really did it so well. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it is that he's pure archetype, and I like that about his character.
And Bright's acting is amazing, so it just adds, but fitting so well into the archetype, as you said, means that it's going to resonate with our psychology more. We're used to these patterns as people, and so they're going to speak to us deep down in our brains. Like you're like, oh, I love it. I love him as the archetype. And it's like, yes, exactly. Because he's fulfilling these things. So that's why like tropes and archetypes and doing what is expected is actually really powerful. Like really powerful psychologically, because our brains, it's like you're using symbols, right? You're using a specific type of music that induces fear or induces love, or you know, you're resonating on multiple levels in the person's brain by using an archetype. It's just another tool in the storyteller's toolbox to help communicate the point of the story. Because I think in our society nowadays, and I've been thinking about this a lot, unless you're using multiple tools to communicate your point, the audience will be lost. And even with that, the audience will be lost.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we like the meta and the symbols and all of that. Those are all tools. Even down to like that type of music that, you know, like I was saying a minute ago, like the type that they use in that scene is just like, it just evokes like this King Arthur type of thing.
Yeah.
And it just pulls you to all the other version that you've seen of that character.
Of that archetype.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of that archetype.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. All right, last question.
Oh my God, yeah.
Christy said, if the series were to appear on a larger streaming platform like Netflix, do you think it could reach the heights of Squid Game, or are all of us are dead, or will it be a slightly niche series? I don't want to say it's niche.
It's
but
not. No.
It's also not Squid Game.
Yeah. And
for obvious reasons.
Do you want to say what those obvious reasons are?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's because violence is accepted by Western audiences more.
Yeah.
It just is. Boys Over Flowers and Meteor Garden did amazing on Netflix. I would be shocked if they didn't express some interest in this show. They
Yeah.
made so much money off of Meteor Garden, especially in um South American
Mm-hmm.
countries, and but it was popular globally. So I could say they could pick it up and it would be as popular as that and be pushed into people like, hey, you ever watched Boys Over Flowers or Meteor Garden? It's going to be pushed into and people will be like, oh my god, a new version of this. Yes, people like the repetitive story. Like they like
Yeah.
hearing the new version. It's like, why do you go to different versions of the same play? It's the same thing as watching the Hanayori Dango musical just a little while ago. You're like, I want to watch this now.
Yeah.
Why? Well, it's a different version of the same thing and it's telling you the same things. Like I
Yeah.
love the point when Ken is talking about how, and the whole scene, you can go watch the clip, but the whole scene is he's talking about how he's all alone at home and he fixes problems with money, but he it just is how his family works. And um like the female lead is just like, I feel sad for you now. I didn't realize that the only thing you have is money. And we've talked about that
Yeah.
being the only thing Tom has is money
Yeah.
the whole time. And so like seeing the consistency of storytelling across different ideas is always awesome. I think it will be popular, at least Business Proposal popular, at least,
Yeah.
probably more. So somewhere between Business Proposal and
Meteor Garden.
and Meteor Garden, at least it could be more popular than Meteor Garden because of showing into other people's Meteor Garden feeds, because they do that with the algorithm. They're like, you watched Meteor Garden, here you go. And
That's true.
yeah, so it could be more popular than Meteor Garden, so somewhere between Meteor Garden and Squid Game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, these other shows like All of Us Are Dead, Squid Game, like all that, they're doing well because of the violence. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like I wish there was more.
I was surprised
love.
at how well Business Proposal did.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's as a romantic comedy, it shouldn't be doing as well as these others. So, yeah, it really just goes to show you that maybe we are kind of appreciating more love stories in the West. Maybe people are yearning for it. I would hope so. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
Oh, the idea map.
Yes, the idea map.
Oh, I'm gonna make this big.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
So
this showed up on one of the writers' Twitter or Instagrams. She had a bunch of pictures and it was like buried like third or fourth. So, and
yeah.
I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god, it's all there." On the like left-hand side of the picture was something, it said genres and it's like drama and romance and comedy and like all of the different genres, and then on
Yeah.
the right-hand side it had archetypes but no archetypes listed. So they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Um
I love that.
but
Archetypes is
then
so interesting.
Be Light and one other person, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, went through it and started and did us the huge favor of translating everything.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And so, yeah, it's there. Redemption and heart and magic and change and games and to be an adult and learn and hope and what
So
social
much.
media did, and like how they really wanted it to feel rich with materialism and fashion and the difference between kind of being real and authentic and being kind of just consumable and materialistic, and then having that
Yeah.
class disparity. And you and I talked about like whether there would be an obvious class disparity message early on, and I think we were proven wrong. Right? Because you and I were like, oh, maybe there won't be a class disparity.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that, we thought there were going to be more. We thought there were going to be different focuses. I think
Yeah.
is what it was.
Yeah, but they specifically went for oppression as something that happens out of class disparity, and that is so important. And how these things all interlink through a period of time where you're defining yourself before you become an adult. Oh, I love you all.
Yeah, it's neat. I've been saying this from the like kind of the midpoint of the show, but that it's like they ask themselves like, why do we want, like, what are we doing, why are we doing it, and they asked the whys before they actually got into like what the plot was. Like they didn't say, oh, we have to do this because it's in this version or it's in the manga, or we have to do this plot line. They say, why is this plot line important?
Yeah.
And this idea map honestly like proves that, because
Yeah.
they were saying these are the things that we want to get across, these are the things we think that are important, and then they ask themselves the whys, why are they important, and then they went and wrote
and then
it.
they wrote. Yeah. And so I just like, if you're a writer, do this. Do a mind map. I do mind maps all the time for solving problems, and this is just, what are you trying to do, and making sure that your symbols are consistent and clear across what you're trying to write is like one of the keys to success. Symbols, tropes, genres, archetypes, all of those are layers. And then when you get to say you're going to be visually storytelling this, or you're going to, actually have it be presented on a screen, then you can represent those symbols in the visuals. You can represent that in the rising and falling action. You can represent that in the transformation of the characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is definitely a really cool practice, and I'm so glad they shared it with us. It's so nice of them to do so.
Yeah. Again, talk to me.
Yeah.
On to Femgaze storytelling in cinema. This is, I begged of you to talk about this, so
yeah,
this is me bugging you to do it, because we didn't get to really.
You.
Yeah.
No, we didn't really get to talk about it. But there's some notes. Yeah, so feminine gaze storytelling we've talked about a little bit like throughout. This is a part of like kind of the bigger themes that we wanted to talk about now that we have everything, now that we have the whole story. The biggest thing about feminine gaze storytelling is the feeling camera. And Joey Soloway did a kind of a master class thing on YouTube. I'll share the video at some point, where they broke down what they believe the feminine gaze or female gaze is, and they based it off of kind of this long history of feminine feminine, how do I say this, like feminism in storytelling and cinema. There's a rich history there. There's a lot of debate of what is female gaze storytelling, because we know what male gaze is, because
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. Our media is mostly controlled, even today, mostly controlled by the male gaze, even if something is being created by women. So what Mary Claire and I like to call it more so the feminine gaze, because it doesn't assign it to
a gender.
Yeah. And the 3 points that Joey points out are: 1, the feeling camera, which prioritizes emotions over action. That means the camera is capturing how someone feels, even in a moment of action. Number 2 is the gazed gaze, which is showing the audience how it feels to be the object of the gaze. So that's
shivers.
Yeah. So that's like whenever they're showing us what it feels to be looked at, what it feels to be seen. And we get that in a lot of perspective shots in F4 Thailand. And then the third part of that is returning the gaze. And that's when the object of the gaze tells the audience how they feel about being seen. So it's not enough just to tell the audience that, or tell the characters in the story that, I can see that you're looking at me. It's another to tell the audience how you feel about being looked at. And this is supposed to allow us to overcome this really big tradition of having women being only the objects seen by the men, desired by the men in the story, and also desired by the male audience.
Yeah.
Which
is a problem.
Something.
It's a problem. It's a problem. And it's a problem. So this ties back to the musical.
Yeah.
And I did a video a long time ago on how I want songs instantly make musicals femme gaze.
Yeah, I remember that. I love that video.
Yeah, it's bad.
No, it's
It's
great.
rough. It's
You
fine.
have some.
But
You have the
but
best points.
like the point is that we need this internalization to be externalized
Mm-hmm.
through the careful storytelling. And so like people are like femme gaze story can only be told by women, right? It has to be women end to end or something like that, and that's just not the truth. Like Pat Opatha did femme gaze, feminine gaze storytelling
Yeah.
as a man because he understands these aspects from a storytelling perspective. And so we're trying to give this to you as the audience of F for Obsessed,
Yeah.
more tools in your toolbox to find what you love.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they also use Tom as the object of the gaze a
Yeah.
few times.
Like the
both-
birthday scene. Yeah.
Yes, the birthday scene
Yeah.
and in our shirtless scene where Goya sees him
Yeah.
and we get a tiny little bit of fan service. These are all allowing us to be the one who has the gaze, which is unusual for women. We're
Yeah.
used to looking through a man's eyes, and with shows like this, we're looking through the desire of a woman, and in this case, mostly Goya's perspective. And also, I just wanted to mention that I kind of wrote some kind of sporadic notes, but in this way of storytelling, the camera prioritizes the gaze of a humanistic first person perspective as opposed to a third party perspective, which may glorify and celebrate whatever is happening in the frame. So if you think about when we were talking about like violence,
Mhm.
like a shot of all of this action happening and all of these things happening, that's just glorifying it. It's like the spectacle of something happening in the frame. Whereas showing a close-up shot of someone's foot, like
his
for, like,
his
the kick.
hand shaking
Yeah.
before he
Yeah.
touches her or before he like cares for her knee. Like that's
Yeah. That's capturing
Yeah.
a feeling as opposed to just the action and just,
Yep.
yeah. And there's different things like I could get into in terms of like, a close-up shot versus a wide shot, because it's not just that, it's what's actually going on in the shot. So, but I won't. But yeah, I'll probably do a video.
You have
about more of it.
done a lot of videos on femgaze. I do recommend
Yeah.
people watch those, as well as you'll probably do more.
Yeah,
just
I
assume.
will. Yeah.
But this is really important to like why does this work? This is why I do this stuff, right? To figure out for myself why am I so emotionally invested in this that I'm willing to spend so much time on this? Well,
Right.
I need to answer that question, and so I'm trying to give to you some of those answers, and Ty is telling why these things work, and in some ways it's like giving you the Cliff's Notes on how to find more stories that work for you in this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right.
Next one, redemption and atonement.
Redemption and atonement. Yeah. So
This
I know
is
we
so
had a few
important.
things. Yeah. I just wanted to I have a couple quotes. There's a quote in Murdoch's book that's actually from Mark Shore that says, myths are the instruments by which we continually struggle to make our experience intelligible to ourselves. A myth is a large, controlling image that gives philosophical meaning to the facts of ordinary life, that is, which has organizing value for experience. A mythology is a more or less articulated body of such images, a pantheon. Without such images, experience is chaotic, fragmentary, and merely phenomenal. It is the chaos of experience that creates them, and they are intended to rectify it. So myths essentially allow us to organize our thoughts, our feelings, and psychological stuff through our life's experiences, and they can act as a filter for us to better understand our own story.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot.
I mean, I got more on that like later on about the importance of storytelling too, but exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why like myths and psychology are so closely bound, and when they resonate in this like archetypical way, it helps us process our own feelings, because our own feelings and our own experiences, because when we look back on our lives, like how we talked about our stories about meeting our husbands and like how they were important to us right away, and things like that, it's our own personal myths.
Absolutely.
Right. And so
How we
seeing
tell
these
it,
things through the eyes of another person
Mhm.
helps us categorize things,
Mhm.
understand it for ourselves, have
Mhm.
an external POV perspective on our own experiences.
Totally. Yeah. And I just had some things about the redemption arc and of Rosalind, because I think there's a lot of discussion on Twitter over the week since we got that redemption. A lot of people wanted more. And
Mhm.
I thought it was perfect, and I wanted to give some reasons why.
Okay.
Um
I also
so
think it was perfect. So
yeah,
yeah,
okay, cool.
I don't think we need her backstory because her backstory isn't actually important to Tom. It's all about her story with Tom, and they showed us that.
Yeah,
The backstory
absolutely.
is the sin, and the sin was shown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, Murdoch says some things about wicked witches and evil stepmothers, and we've talked about how Rosalind is this character for both Tom and Goya, even though she's not actually Goya's mom, but she is in a sense.
Just like how
And
being a star bride means you're a star bride from the beginning of the story, it's
yep,
similar to that. She's destined to be her daughter-in-law, so she is already her mother.
exactly. Yeah, and Murdoch says in fairy tale there is little concern for the origins of cruelty in the stepmother or wicked witch. We just assume she was always that way. We never get to hear her side of the story about the whining, disobedient, manipulative child who is, of course, the apple of her father's eye. The wicked stepmother represents the disappointment each child carries at not having the perfect mother, that illusory mother next door who is ever present, ever understanding, and unconditionally loving. So the wicked mother, the wicked witch, the evil stepmother, however, whatever analog
Mm-hmm.
they are, that is representative of us propelling something within ourselves. And it's also giving a name to something that we didn't have, maybe, or something that we
Mm-hmm.
um, are feeling within maybe our actual mothers, or we got it from
Yeah.
another feminine person in our lives.
Good.
And Goya's realization of it's because you love him allows her to bring the wicked witch into her home. And
Yeah.
Murdoch talks about this, saying because usually wicked witches are not allowed back into the home.
Yeah.
And Murdoch says, I find it difficult to accept and cherish the mad woman within my mother, because then I will have to face the mad woman
In
within myself.
myself. Yeah.
If I take back the mother the way she is, I have to come to terms with the fact that I can't make her love me the way I want to be loved. I will never have a mommy who openly loves. A mother, yes, but not a mommy. I have to accept my mother as she is.
Ooh.
This,
This is big stuff because this is like Jungian psychology on shadows of self that you have projected on others,
yeah,
right? That fulfill those archetypes, and then taking that back into yourself. Goya does that successfully, which means
mhm,
that she is now the master of that. And
exactly.
she can decide, and like you in the audience, of course, when you do that, when you successfully do that, you can decide what it means to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is all about Goya and Tom and their love story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not necessarily about Rosalind, but Rosalind is incredibly important as a figure of Goya. Like I love this because I relate to it in a way. Like I
Yeah,
understand
you
this so
talked about your
much.
mom.
Yeah. And just the fact that, this allowing this person back into your life, despite the fact that they may be sometimes toxic, sometimes unintentionally harmful,
Mm-hmm.
which we know Rosalind is not 100% just going to be good overnight. We all know that, and she doesn't have to be, and it's fine because Goya still accepts her because they have something in common. They both love Tom, and they both
Yeah.
now, as at the end of the story, want what's best for Tom. So I just think it's beautiful, and I think it's just a wonderful redemptive arc, especially
Yeah.
from that femigaze perspective.
And I had a few thoughts on redemption as well. Specifically around Tom's redemption
Mm-hmm.
and Rosalind's, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just takes a moment. It's like in Buddhism there's a principle uh of redemption, and it doesn't say like you have to go and atone for everything,
Mm-hmm.
or be punished for the crimes that you have committed. All you have to do is choose to make a different decision than you were making the day before. The concept is from today onward.
Mm-hmm.
And we can never escape the past all of the wrong things that we did. And although Tom atones for it, he knows he has to keep on making the right decision this day onward. That's all of us, right? It gets easier with time, but he slipped back. He reverted. He made mistakes. And why this is important in our modern day fairy tale storytelling is because it gives us the hope that we ourselves can make a different decision today than we did yesterday, and love somebody, be compassionate to somebody, be a better person. Because everybody, especially teenagers, make mistakes. And if we're saying, well, if you've made a mistake in your past, that equates to death, which is the typical patriarchal punishment for those that make mistakes. Death.
Yeah.
Violence, death, being locked away, right? Is social death in humans, right? Going to jail, retribution. We need the hope in our stories that we can be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that all it takes is one decision. On that side note, everybody see everything everywhere all at once.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else on that, or
no? We can move on to the elixir.
The elixir. Yeah. So, what this story gave us, aside from everything we talked about, I just wanted to provide to you this quote from Maureen Murdoch. She writes this poem towards the end of her book, and I think this is so important to F4 Thailand. She says, "Your inner man and inner woman have been at war. They're both wounded, tired, and in need of care. It is time to put down the sword that divides them in two." And this is so meaningful because these two figures are meant to be together, but they're fighting. And we talked about this is the anti-violent messaging of the show. These two are the king and the queen. They are your inner woman and inner man within yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody has one. Everybody has those. Everybody has those parts of themselves. And if they can tend to them, if they can let them rest, let them not fight for a minute, then you have the ability to overcome so much stuff, so much garbage, so much baggage, to try to unite all these things within yourself and practice integration, which we've talked about.
And it when you are an integrated person, you have power.
Yeah. And that's what these stories are teaching us. Yeah. Totally.
And
right.
The next one that I have is actually an Ursula K. Le Guin quote, and I just want to talk about it and then explain it a little bit. But our culture doesn't think that storytelling is sacred. Artists pursue a sacred call, although some would buck and rear at having the idea of their work labeled as this. Artists are lucky to have a form in which to express themselves. There is a sacredness about that and a terrific sense of responsibility. We have got to do it right. Why do we have to do it right? Because that's the whole point. Either it's right or it's wrong. And I'm sorry to tell everybody in the audience that you're going to feel that some stories are wrong now.
Yeah.
They're going to feel wrong.
This is the problem. This is like eating the apple in the garden kind of thing,
yeah,
right?
we gave you too much knowledge now that you've watched all this F4 Obsessed. And now you're going to be like, some things just won't feel right.
Yeah.
And we hope that you'll know why, because we've talked about it. But it's gonna be like, I can't watch. There's shows I cannot watch any longer. I just can't. Even if they were just fun, it's just explodey, blah blah blah. I just can't. I can't even get myself to do it. right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she really, Ursula K. Le Guin, and again, that's why I said she's in my list of stuff you gotta read, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's how we allow ourselves to experience the world through a different set of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it allows us to give a different lens to our own experiences. And like sometimes there's like silence when it comes to storytelling, like, oh, it's just a silly story, or it's just a popcorn movie. Yeah, but that popcorn movie, like if this was a piece of poetry, people would say, oh, you know, I read that and yeah, that's it. That's how I feel. And we
Mm-hmm.
identify through the lens and the eyes of the character and through the experiences. And if we aren't represented in the lens and the eyes and the gaze of the character, then we feel that we are insignificant in the world and we are insignificant and our experience is insignificant.
Right.
And she talks about that, Ursula K. Le Guin, so much. And this is the seed that I want you to take home with you after this is all done. This is just us saying, like love yourself, believe in yourself, all of those things, but know what you want and fight for it from a story perspective, because it's like this is the elixir that F4
Yeah.
Thailand gave us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great and it's grand. A lot of people in the chat have said that they already are starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
So
And I wanted to explain why you are, because it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of irresponsible of us to have completely shifted your lens of viewing story and then being like right away, haha, you don't know why. Well, you do know why now, because we've given you a different set of lenses to view everything.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. I don't know if we have anything else.
No, we just have this nice thank you slide.
Yes, we have thank yous. That was really fun, guys. I'm so glad you all joined us on this. This was great. The last hoorah. Thanks. We have a list of thanks. So thanks to Melody, who's been helping out and supporting us from the sidelines ever since she started watching F4. Thanks to Miss This for our intro and outro music. Thanks to Light, who has been gracious enough to translate some of the Thai content into English for us. Thanks to our unofficial astrologist, Zoa Batul. And in no particular order, thanks to Subway Dates Jenny, Loaded Tachos Heather, Assassin Sage Andrew, Noodle Doodle Huzaima, our good friend Susan Bailey, Kitsune Hadagoya, Fangirling Only Missy, RM's Dimples Chrissy, Orachan Clara, Blonde Tapperware, Glowcar, Hufflin Puffs, Nightmare, Evelyn Wilder, Pavani, Shruti, Epic Games, Solo Pang, Ia B, Maria Marie, Psyche Girl, Azette Casanova, and Kira Dominguez. And of course, to all of our commenters, and followers who have made this conversation so incredibly worthwhile and have taught us so much more, taught us all a lot about story and about ourselves. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
I'm getting teary. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for everything. This has been a journey, and yeah. Follow us on Twitter. Our ats are below you, below our heads.
We'll keep the conversation going as forever.
Yeah. Are you ready to wrap this up? Ready to say goodbye?
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.